much. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Thank you. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Thank you. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Jai. So happy Janmastami to all of you. Shri Shri Radhakala Chanji ki jai. Shri Krishna Janmastami Mahamahotsava ki jai. So today's presentation will be about Krishna's appearance. We'll hear the story and try to learn some lessons from Krishna's appearance in this world. So this seems to be the theme this year, is Vasudeva carrying Krishna across the Yamuna in the stormy night. So here we are in this dark, stormy, distressful material world, this age of Kali, age of darkness, and but Krishna has appeared. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 14 says that the pastimes of Krishna are the remedy for all suffering in this age of Kali. It says, Kali kalmasha gnam. Means that it removes, it just shatters all the miseries, blows them far away. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvataha tyaktva deham punar janma naiti mam eti sorjuna. That just by understanding the transcendental nature of Krishna's birth and activities, we'll never have to take birth again in this material world. In other words, we go back to Godhead. So it's so crucial that we actually understand the transcendental nature, how Krishna's birth in this material world is transcendental, his appearance, how his activities in this world are totally transcendental. Although he appears to take birth like an ordinary child, although he appears to act like an ordinary child in his pastimes, but it's not at all ordinary. It's totally transcendentally extraordinary. So just by understanding that, we can go back to Godhead. So that's why it's very important for us to hear about Krishna's appearance, hear about his pastimes, hear about how it's transcendental, so that we can one day actually truly understand who Krishna really is. So we're going to read a couple of verses here from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 3, text 7 to 8. And these are really nice verses talking about Krishna's appearance and all the what was going on at the very moment when Krishna appeared, what was happening. And hold on. Yeah. And there's this presentation it's a PowerPoint, but it's also kind of multimedia. So there will be some sounds, there will be some videos, and there's one really sweet video that's based on a song by Karnamrita Devi Dasi. It's a beautiful singer, and she's going to sing these verses. So, and there's a video that goes along with that. So that'll be a treat. So stay tuned. Don't leave without seeing that. And so we'll recite these verses now, and you can also sing along when that song comes up. So, Mumuchur Munayo Deva Sumanam Shimudan Vitaha Mandam Mandam Jaladhara Jagarjur Anusagaram Nishite Tama Udbhute Jayamane Janardane Devakyam Devarupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhashaya Avirashidyata Pratyam Dishindur Eva Pushkalaha. Maybe we'll just do that one more time and then we'll go ahead, because otherwise it's going to take a long time. Mumuchur Munayo Deva Sumanam Chimudan Vita Mandam Mandam Jaladhara Jagarjur Anusagaram Nishite Tama Udbhute Jayamane Janardane Devakyam Devarupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhashaya Avirashidyata Pratyam Dishindur Eva Pushkalaha. Okay, beautiful. So let's go to the word for word. Mumuchu, showered. Munayaha, all the great sages and saintly persons. Devaha, and the demigods. Sumanamsi, very beautiful and fragrant flowers. Muda anvitaha, being joyous in their attitude. Mandam mandam, very mildly. Jaladharaha, the clouds. Jagarjuhu, vibrated. Anusagaram, following the vibrations of the sea waves. Nishite, late at night. Tama udbhute, when it was densely dark. Jayamane, on the appearance of. Janardane, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. Devakyam, in the womb of Devaki. Devarupinyam, who was in the same category as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Lord. Sarvaguha Shayaha, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart. Avirasit, appeared. Yata, as. Pratyam Dishi, in the east. Indu Eva, like the full moon. Pushkalaha, complete in every respect. So it's translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean waves. So we have all the clouds here gathering in the sky, getting ready for Krishna's transcendental appearance. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. So, beautiful verse. Maybe let's repeat this. The demigods and great saintly persons showered flowers in a joyous mood, and clouds gathered in the sky, and very mildly thundered, making sounds like those of the ocean waves. Then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart, appeared from the heart of Devaki in the dense darkness of night, like the full moon rising on the eastern horizon, because Devaki was of the same category as Sri Krishna. Okay, so here's Srila Prabhupada's purport. It's a little long, but it's very sweet, so it'll be worth it. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 537, you can all chant this with me. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabis Tabirya Eva Nija Rupa Taya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This verse indicates that Krishna and his entourage are of the same spiritual potency, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. Krishna's father, his mother, his friends, the cowherd boys, and the cows are all expansions of Krishna, as will be explained in the Brahma Vimohana Lila. When Brahma took away Krishna's associates to test the supremacy of Lord Krishna, the Lord expanded himself again in the form of many cowherd boys and calves, all of whom, as Brahma saw, were Vishnu Murtis. Devaki is also an expansion of Krishna, and therefore this verse says, Devanam Devarupinyam Vishnu Sarva Guhashaya. So we're seeing here already that Krishna's appearance is very transcendental. Not only is he transcendental, but all of his associates are transcendental. They're all of the same transcendental quality as he is. They're all expansions of him. And Devaki, his mother, is not an ordinary woman either. She's of the same quality, same transcendental quality as Krishna. At the time for the Lord's appearance, the great sages and the demigods, being pleased, began to shower flowers. At the seashore, there was the sound of mild waves, and above the sea there were clouds in the sky, which began to thunder very pleasingly. When things were adjusted like this, Lord Vishnu, who was residing within the heart of every living entity, appeared in the darkness of night as the Supreme Personality of Godhead before Devaki, who appeared as one of the demigoddesses. The appearance of Lord Vishnu at that time could be compared to the rising of the full moon in the sky on the eastern horizon. The objection may be raised that since Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the waning moon, right, the Ashtami, that's why we call it Janmastami, there could be no rising of the full moon. In answer to this, it may be said that Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty which is in the hierarchy of the moon. He appeared in the lunar dynasty. Therefore, although the moon was incomplete on that night, because of the Lord's appearance in the dynasty wherein the moon is himself the original person, the moon was in an overjoyous condition. So by the grace of Krishna, he could appear as the full moon. To welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the waning moon became a full moon in jubilation. So Krishna appeared in the lunar dynasty. So the moon became very happy that, oh, the Krishna is appearing in my family. This is great. So he's thinking, wow, Krishna's appearing in my family. He's appearing in my family. And he gets all puffed up like that out of jubilation. Here's full. Continues. Instead of Deva Rupinyam, some texts of Srimad Bhagavatam clearly say Vishnu Rupinyam. In either case, the meaning is that Devaki has the same spiritual form as the Lord. The Lord is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, and Devaki is also Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Therefore, no one can find any fault in the way the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, appeared from the womb of Devaki. Those who are not in full knowledge that the appearance and disappearance of the Lord are transcendental, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, are sometimes surprised that the Supreme Personality of Godhead can take birth like an ordinary child. Actually, however, the Lord's birth is never ordinary. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is already situated within the core of everyone's heart as Antaryami, the Supersoul. Thus, because he was present in full potency in Devaki's heart, he was also able to appear outside her body. Last one, I think. One of the 12 great personalities is Bhishmadev, Swayambhu Narada Shambhu, Kumara Kapilo Manu, Prahlad Janako Bhishma. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.9.42, Bhishma, a great authority to be followed by devotees, says that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in the core of everyone's heart, just as the sun may be on everyone's head. Yet although the sun may be on the heads of millions and millions of people, this does not mean that the sun is variously situated. Similarly, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has inconceivable potencies, he can be within everyone's heart and yet not be situated variously. Ekatvam anupashyata, Ishopanishad, Mantra 7. The Lord is one, but he can appear in everyone's heart by his inconceivable potency. Thus, although the Lord was within the heart of Devaki, he appeared as her child. According to the Vishnu Purana, therefore, as quoted in the Vaishnav Toshani, the Lord appeared like the sun, Anugrahashaya. The Brahma Samhita 535 confirms that the Lord is situated even within the atom, Andantarasta Paramanu Chayantarastam. He is situated in Mathura, in Vaikuntha, and in the core of the heart. So this is a way that Lord's appearance is transcendental, that he's already within the heart. So he's already in Devaki's heart, and from that position he just came out. Because he didn't come out as Paramama, he came out as Krishna in all of his glories as Bhagavan. So this is the last slide. Therefore, one should clearly understand that he did not live like an ordinary child in the heart or in the womb of Devaki, nor did he appear like an ordinary human child, although he seemed to do in order to bewilder asuras like Kamsa. So if you think that Krishna is an ordinary person, you must be an asura like Kamsa. Oh, you're bewildered. Let's see. The asuras wrongly think that Krishna took birth like an ordinary child and passed away from this world like an ordinary man. Such asuric conceptions are rejected by persons in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ajo pisan avyayatmo bhutanan ishvaro pisan, Bhagavad Gita 4.6. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is Aja, unborn, and he is the supreme controller of everything. Nonetheless, he appeared as the child of Devaki. This verse describes the inconceivable potency of the Lord, who appeared like the full moon. Understanding the special significance of the appearance of the Supreme Godhead, one should never regard him as having taken birth like an ordinary child. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militandena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasya Chadeshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This appearance of Lord Krishna begins in Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna exists eternally, enjoying his pastimes. So in this slide we see the whole spiritual world, or just a slight representation of the spiritual world. All the Vaikuntha planets are there surrounding the central ultimate highest abode of Goloka, which is situated like on a lotus flower at the topmost level of the spiritual sky. So there Krishna enjoys himself with all of his eternal associates, the gopis headed by Srimati Radharani, the cowherd boys headed by Lord Balaram, his mother Yashoda, father Nanda Maharaj, all the cows, and all the Rajbasis. And together they're performing all kinds of pastimes. So all of us also have a home that's our spiritual home, and that's why Prabhupada said we need to go back home, back to Godhead. And yet at some point, for some reason, which shall remain a mystery, we rejected that place. We rejected the association of Krishna. You see there's a person there who's in black and white because he's lost his color due to losing his eternal spiritual nature as a servant of Krishna. And he's like, you know what? I'm done with this. I don't want anything else to do with Krishna. I'm out of here. I want to go to a place where I can be the center of attention, where I can have my own pastimes, where everybody can serve me and love me, and that's the material world. So, but still, Krishna is so kind that even though we, small souls, rebel against his authority, rebel against his position as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme controller, still he creates a nice playground for us here in the material world, relatively speaking. So Krishna's playground is Goloka Vrindavan. He's playing there with everyone. And when we don't want to play in his playground with him anymore, then he's so kind, he's like, okay, you have your own playground there in the material world. So for that, he expands himself as Mahavishnu. And he lies down in the causal ocean, and he creates all the material elements. You see here, there's earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then, lying down in that same position, he breathes out all the different universes that compared to him are so small and so numerous. They're like little bubbles in the ocean. Countless universes emanate from his breathing or emanate from the pores of his body. And that Mahavishnu is just a partial expansion of Krishna in Goloka. So here in this slide we see all the universes, and then we also see something in each one of those universes. So this Mahavishnu further expands himself into the second Purusha expansion, who's called Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he enters into each of those universes. So this is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu within one of the many countless universes, and you can see that from his navel there's a lotus flower growing. So this lotus flower is very special, and in this slide you can see that there's a person sitting on top of that lotus flower. So who is that person? Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma is the secondary creator of this material cosmic manifestation, and Krishna empowers him. You can see in the picture here there's Paramatma in Brahma's heart. So the Lord imparted knowledge from within the heart of Brahma of what to do, of how to create the universe. He invested him with the creative potencies, and he created all the planets, all the bodies of all the different living entities, all the structures and forms within this universe, everything. And so we end up with a material universe within the broader context of the whole spiritual sky. So you can see a little bit of the relative size, that the spiritual world is huge. Most of existence is the spiritual world, right? Because there's so many Vaikunthas and Goloka, and then this material world is like a dark corner. It's like a dark little corner of the whole spiritual sky. And it's closed off by the spiritual sky is self-illuminated. It's dazzlingly radiant with Krishna's effulgence. It's permeated with Krishna's effulgence. But this material world is like a closed system. It's covered. It's like a coconut with different layers of covering, and the light from the spiritual sky can't penetrate, and that's why Krishna has to give us a moon and a sun to light up this place. Otherwise it would be completely black here. So within that small place of the whole material cosmic manifestation, there are millions and millions and unlimited universes. And within those universes, there are many, many planets. And within one of those universes, there are many planets. And there is one such planet called planet Earth. So you can see about in the center of this picture, there's Dallas, Texas. And that's where we're all sitting right now. So 5,000 years ago, on this planet Earth, same one that we live on, there was a very problematic situation. And that is that most of the rulers of the different kingdoms, the governments, were demons. So the kings or the rulers of nations are meant to lead the world to peace, prosperity, and happiness, and spiritual realization ultimately. They're supposed to be Raja Rishis, right? They're supposed to teach the way of perfecting one's human form of life and to set the example themselves. And that's why when Krishna comes, he speaks to the kings, right? But at that particular time, a lot of demons from the higher planets had taken their birth in the families in the royal dynasties on Earth, and they had gradually become the heirs to the throne, and they had become kings, and they had turned the planet basically into their Death Star, into their fortress from which they were planning to launch a large-scale attack on the demigods and take over the universe. So the Earth was in a very bad condition. The demoniac leaders, they forbade any kind of religious performance, any sacrifices. They terrorized and persecuted the Brahmins and anyone who was worshipping Lord Vishnu. And of course, they were doing all kinds of sinful activities. And so the Earth was sad. So Earth is not just a lump of matter floating in space, but it's also a goddess. Right? There's a goddess called Devi, who is a personification of the Earth. And so she was very burdened by the weight of all the sinful activities of these demons, and she was very distressed. So she became, she was crying and helpless under the weight of all of these demons, and she thought, I need to approach someone who can help me, and the highest person in the universe that I know of is Lord Brahma. So she took the form of a cow, thinking that, saintly people have a lot of compassion for cows and are always ready to protect the cows. So she's thinking, if I show up in the form of a cow, then they're going to take care of me. They're going to see to my needs. They're going to protect me and arrange for whatever is necessary. So she takes this form of a cow, and she goes to Lord Brahma. And after hearing her tale of woe, Brahma assures her that, yes, don't worry, Bhumi Devi, I'm going to help you. So then Brahma goes, and he goes to different places around the universe, and he rounds up all the demigods from their planets, like Indra and Lord Shiva and all the demigods, and they go together to a place within this universe, the planet of Svetadweep, which there's an ocean of milk there, and Svetadweep literally means the white island. So there's a white island there in the middle of the ocean of milk that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu lies on, and that's here in our universe. So the demigods go there, and they approach Lord Vishnu, and they first see the way that, if you study Srimad Bhagavatam, all the different prayers that are offered in Bhagavatam, there's a certain pattern to the way that people pray, that devotees or demigods pray, and we can learn from this too how to pray, because sometimes we're not taught how to pray. But the first thing that they do, see, they have this ardent request, right? They want to go there. So they don't just go there and say, please, Lord, come and kill these demons. The first thing that they do is they glorify the Lord. They go there, they pay their obeisances, and then they recite a lot of glorifications, right? That you are so great, you are so wonderful. And then only after that, they make their request. So we're going to hear the prayers that they specifically chanted are called the Purusha Shukta prayers. So I have a few recitations of some of those prayers. Not all of them, but some of them. And I hope you're going to be able to hear this. Let's see. This works. So these are in Sanskrit, which is the language of the demigods. I don't hear any sound. Oh, no. Oh, I think. Should I? There we go.
sarvam yadbhutam yachabhavyam utamritatvasya chanaha yadannena tirohati.
So I'm going to say the translation. The universes, past, present, and future, are but manifestations of the Supreme Lord, who expands himself as the Purusha. He is the Lord of immortality, but has manifested himself as the Purusha in the universe, so that the jivas may enjoy material activities and their results. So he's specifically glorifying Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, entered the universe so that the jivas can do their thing here, basically. The past, present, and future universes are manifestations of the Lord's powers, but the Lord himself is much greater. The material creation is but 1/4 portion, and the eternal nature in the spiritual sky exists in 3/4 portion. The 3/4 portion of the Lord transcend the material portion. The Lord, in the 1/4 portion, manifests the universe again, as he had done repeatedly before. The Lord of the 1/4 portion began the work of creation by going all around, taking the form of all animate and inanimate objects. From that Lord, the Virat, or universe, was born, and in that the Virat Purusha, Paramatma of the universe, was born. Having appeared, the Virat Purusha grew and produced the earth and the bodies of the jivas. From the face of the universal form came the priests and philosophers. From the 2 arms came the administrators and military. From the thighs came the farmers and merchants, and from his feet the artisans and service class were born. The moon was born from his mind, the sun was born from his 2 eyes, from his mouth were born Indra and Agni, and from his breath Vayu was born. So that's Purusha Shukta. I just thought it would be sweet to hear what the demigods actually said when they got there. So after glorifying him, then they're sitting there waiting for some reply. But they don't hear any reply. The Lord is remaining somewhat aloof. But you see here Lord Brahma, he's sitting in meditation. He's meditating very deeply on the Lord. And in his meditation from within his heart, he hears the words of Lord Vishnu. And what Lord Vishnu tells him is that, Brahma, I'm aware of the situation. You didn't have to tell me. I knew it. I totally understand what's going on the earth, and I have a plan. Don't worry. I will be coming soon. And so this is true to Krishna's promise that he made in the Bhagavad Gita, that whenever... That's Srila Prabhupada's voice, in case any of you don't recognize it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, yeah, that Krishna promises that whenever the situation gets really bad on the earth, like unbearably, intolerably bad, that he comes at that time. And then... Then Krishna says the reason why he comes is, first of all, to deliver the pious, to deliver those who are devoted, and to kill the demons, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion. And he comes again and again, millennium after millennium. So not only, even though we rebel against Krishna and come here, he creates a wonderful world for us. He personally enters into this world. He's always there for us. The demigods can approach him. We can also approach him at any time. And then in addition to that, Krishna, in his original transcendental form, comes millennium after millennium to make sure that it doesn't get too intolerable here that people can't live. So, so then Brahma further conveyed to the demigods that not only is the Lord coming, but he wants all of you to come too. He wants you to expand yourself, and in those amshas, or expanded portions of yourselves, to take birth in the Yadu dynasty, and to enrich the Lord's pastimes, to assist him in his pastimes. And this was a great benediction for the demigods, because demigods are all here in the material world, and they didn't go back to Godhead from their previous birth because they had some material desires. They wanted to have a position, have power, be in control of something, and do that for Krishna. So now Krishna is giving them the chance to actually appear, take birth in the place where he's having his pastimes, and be a part of those pastimes, and basically get trained how to serve Krishna directly. And then at the end of this, their appearance in the material world on earth with Krishna, they can go back home, back to Godhead. So this is really good fortune for the demigods. So the demigods take birth in the Yadu dynasty. The Yadu dynasty at that time was based in Mathura. That was the capital of all of the Yadu kings. And it was ruled by a king named Ugrasen. So Ugrasen had a son who was the prince of the Yadu dynasty, and his name was Kamsa. And he also had Devaki was the sister or cousin sister of Kamsa. So this picture here is actually the Krishna Janmastami in Mathura as it is now. It's a reconstruction of the royal palace where Ugrasen and Kamsa and Devaki lived, and where Krishna was born. And many pilgrims go there on this day to visit the place where Krishna actually took birth. There's like a replica of the prison cell that Devaki and Vasudeva were kept in. So we'll get to that. So all of the elders, Krishna's grandparents and parents and elder personalities, are taking birth in the Yadu dynasty and also in Gokul at the same time. So Vasudeva and Devaki get married. And there's a beautiful wedding ceremony. And this is very glorious. It's there in the royal family. So huge wedding ceremony. And Devaki's father's name was King Devak, and he was very wealthy. He was a king in his own right. And so the dowry was huge. He gave elephants and horses and chariots and gold and jewelry and all these things. And then according to custom, the brother is supposed to take the newly married bride to her husband's home. And that's a way of making her feel comfortable, that because she might feel a little, awkward going to a new place. She's never been there. She's going to have to live with this man that she's never lived with. So her brother goes to sort of comfort her. So Kamsa drives her on the chariot. You can see there's a procession. There's all those elephants and everything, drummers. And it's a very affectionate scene. You can see Vasudeva and Devaki, very loving. Even Kamsa, he's feeling very proud. My sister just got married. Everything is lovely. This is such a wonderful day. But then there was a voice in the sky that said, "Kamsa, you fool. Don't you know? You're thinking everything is so great. You're safeguarding this woman, your sister. Don't you know that her 8th child is going to kill you?" And so Kamsa, being a demon, see, this is the nature of demons. As long as everything is going their way, then it's all good. They're your friend. They'll help you out. But as soon as there's some threat to their position, their comfort, their self-interest, then you're done. They'll do anything to get you out of the way. So Kamsa, he lifted his sword and he grabbed Devaki by the hair, and he was just about to cut her head off right on her wedding day in the presence of her groom. And he wanted to kill her immediately. But Vasudeva was very intelligent, and he was a devotee of Krishna. He would be the father of Krishna, and he was able to maintain his cool in this very potentially tragic situation. And so he gave a whole lecture to Kamsa about the nature of the soul. Come on, Kamsa, you know, the soul is eternal, the body's temporary anyway, everyone has to die one day. Don't worry too much about it. We're just transmigrating from one body to another. This is not something very serious. You don't need to get so upset about it. And yeah, and then he also told him about, you know, if you harm others, especially if you harm your own sister, that's going to be really bad for you. That's going to affect your future life, because we're talking about death here, which means you're going to go on to another life, and that life is going to be determined by what you do in this life. So if you kill your sister, you're going to have a very bad next life. So just don't do it. But of course, Kamsa didn't care about any good instruction. He didn't want to hear any philosophy at this moment. And so Vasudeva had to resort to another argument. So he said, okay, Kamsa, how about this? As soon as Devaki gives birth, I will faithfully deliver you the baby, and you can do whatever you want with that baby, and whatever children she has, I'll just give them to you, and they're yours. So then, knowing Vasudeva to be a man of his word, then Kamsa trusted him, and he said, okay, I agree to that. So then Vasudeva and Devaki went home. And then, true to his word, when the first child was born, he went there and presented it to Kamsa. But you can see in the picture here, Kamsa's looking rather chill. Looks like he had a good day that day. And he was like, you know what, Vasudeva, the voice said that the 8th son of Devaki was going to kill me. Or not necessarily 8th son, the 8th child would kill me. So this first child is not a threat to me at all. You can take this baby home. And when the 8th son comes, that's when I'm going to take care of that baby. So in this section, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vasudeva speaks something. He's reflecting on the situation. When he's going to present the baby to Kamsa, he's thinking quite deeply about the whole situation, as you can imagine. And he says, a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. A heinous person like Kamsa can act in any sinful way. In other words, he can do anything to this child. I can't even imagine what he's going to do to this baby. And yet, a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even in this very dangerous situation, Vasudeva could realize that Krishna is the Supreme Controller, and we're all like little pawns on the Supreme chessboard. And if this is what providence is, this is what fate has arranged for me, that I have to give my newborn baby to this demon, then if this is what I have to do to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then this is what I have to do. So fortunately, Kamsa said, you can take the baby and go home. But then something happened. Narada Muni came along. And so Narada Muni, he became Kamsa's informant. And he told Kamsa, he said, you know what, Kamsa, I noticed that you just let that Vasudeva go back home with this baby, but you don't seem to understand the potential risk here for you in this. Because I want to inform you that in your last life, you were also a king, and your name was Kalanemi. And you were a big demon. And as you know, the demons and the demigods are always fighting. And so there was a battle between the demons and the demigods at that time. It was a huge battle. It covered the whole universe. And so many demons were killed, even many demigods were killed. And you fought very valiantly in that war, but you were ultimately killed by Lord Vishnu. And this Vishnu is your eternal enemy. And that same Vishnu who killed you as Kalanemi in your past life is coming to kill you again. And then he goes on to tell him that, you know, Vishnu is very tricky. The voice in the sky said it would be the 8th child that would kill you. But, you know, he can do anything. He does all kinds of things at any moment. So you can't trust Lord Vishnu. He could come as the 2nd child, as the 5th child. He can come whenever he wants. He basically does whatever he wants. And not only is that child a danger to you, but let me tell you, all the demigods, your enemies from previous lives and this life, are also incarnating in the Yadu dynasty. So basically, you are surrounded by enemies. You're position is very, very precarious. So be very careful. So this news, of course, put Kamsa into a lot of anxiety. And Kamsa, he decided that anyone who had any affinity towards Lord Vishnu, who was in any way religious, was his enemy. Was probably a demigod who was coming there to try to kill him. And so he just started throwing everyone in jail. He even threw his own father, King Ugrasen, into jail. And then, of course, he immediately went and got Vasudeva and Devaki and put them in jail. And he killed the children. So he went and got that baby that was born first, and he killed that one. And then Vasudeva and Devaki stayed in jail for a long period of time, and every baby that was born, Kamsa just immediately grabbed, and it's described here in the picture. It shows that he's got a sword, but how it's described is that he took them by the feet and he just smashed their heads on a stone and killed them. Anyways, very horrible. Hare Krishna, right? So, yeah. But there's also something to be known about these sons, because it seems very horrific, and someone might think, how is it? Vasudeva and Devaki were devotees. And their children were innocent, apparently. So how is it that this demon, they could have their babies killed so cruelly right in front of their eyes by Kamsa? So we hear that these 6 sons of Devaki, the first 6 sons of Devaki, were actually Kamsa's own sons in his previous life. So when Kamsa was Kalanemi, these 6 sons of Devaki were his sons in that life. And Kalanemi's father was Hiranyakashipu. So this is all connected. The demons are very well connected. So Hiranyakashipu's son was Kalanemi, and his grandsons were these 6 sons that were born to Devaki in this life. And we know from the story of Lord Nrsingadev that Hiranyakashipu went to Mandara Hill, and he was performing austerities there to please Lord Brahma to become the most powerful person in the universe, to become the controller of the universe, basically to try to become immortal and to be God. And when his grandchildren, these 6 sons, heard that Hiranyakashipu had attained his power by worshipping Lord Brahma, they also started doing severe austerities to worship Brahma, thinking, oh, we'll also become powerful, we'll bunk this Hiranyakashipu out of his position, and we'll be the kings of the universe. So when Hiranyakashipu understood that they were doing that, they were strategizing, and that they were doing austerities, then he cursed them. He said that you've betrayed me, you betrayed my rule, and so in your next life you're going to be killed by your own father. So Hiranyakashipu cursed them that way. So then they had to be killed by their own father. Of course, the father who was their father from the previous life. Their father in this life was Vasudeva, but Kalanemi was their father from the past life. So Kalanemi took birth as Kamsa and basically killed his own children from the previous life. So they were little demons. So he killed all these demons. And specifically it said that these 6 sons of Devaki, who were previously sons of Kalanemi, represent the 6 anartas, the 6 bad qualities that are in the hearts of the conditioned souls. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, and madness. And that Kamsa himself represents material association. So you can see that all of these bad qualities are born out of material association. So when we associate with materialistic people, then these qualities they arise within the heart. We become lustful, we are unable to control anger, we get greedy, we become bewildered, we become envious, and we become mad, we become a little crazy, thinking that we're these bodies, thinking that, there's only one life and it's for enjoyment, and these are the ways in which our madness manifests. So, So Devaki is described that through Devaki's fear of Kamsa, she was purified of these 6 anartas, these 6 bad qualities. Not that she actually had these bad qualities, because we heard that Devaki, Deva Rupi Nyam, that she was of the same quality as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that means she must have been completely pure. But it's significant. It's instructive for us that we have these bad qualities, and we need to free ourselves from these qualities. And when we become fearful of material association, to the extent that we are going to avoid it because we understand that it's dangerous, right? Prabhupada said we should have a healthy fear of Maya, then we can get free from these bad qualities. So the killing of these Devaki's 6 sons signifies that any trace of material qualities were removed from her heart, or signifies that before Krishna can really manifest fully in our lives, in our hearts, then we need to purify our hearts of these 6 bad qualities. So when that was done, when the 6 bad qualities were removed, and the 6 sons of Devaki were killed, then Lord Balaram was the next child to appear in the womb of Devaki. And Lord Balaram is Anantashesh. You can see there in the picture that there's the hoods of Anantashesh around him, as we have here that the hoods of the coils of Anantashesh around Srila Prabhupada and his Vyasasan, and this very artistic decoration. And yeah, so Balaram, his service is to create a suitable atmosphere for Krishna to come. So he comes first, and he purifies everything, and basically he ushers Krishna into the world. So I was thinking it's appropriate that we have Srila Prabhupada, you know, sitting on Anantashesh there, because in the same way that Anantashesh ushers Krishna into the world, Srila Prabhupada ushered Krishna to the Western world. he brought Krishna consciousness to the Western world. So, and Balaram also is Adi Guru. We were hearing that last week on Balaram's appearance day, that he's the original Guru. And so by Guru's mercy, we get Krishna. And so by Balaram's mercy, we can also get Krishna. Balaram appears first, and then Yasya Prasadan, Bhagavad Prasado. We get the mercy of Krishna. So something very mystical happened in relation to Balaram, is that the Lord ordered his internal potency, Yogamaya, to transfer Lord Balaram from the womb of Devaki in the prison cell in Mathura to the womb of Rohini, who was another wife of Vasudeva, who was living in Vrindavan, in Gokul, under the care of Nanda Maharaj. So yeah, when Vasudeva knew that he was going to be put in jail for a long period of time, he had multiple other wives. He put those wives in the care of different trusted friends. So he put Rohini in the care of Nanda Maharaj. So she was living there very safely in Vrindavan, in Gokul, with Nanda and Yashoda. And so it looked like Devi had a miscarriage, because she was pregnant with Balaram, and then she was not pregnant anymore. But then Rohini gave birth to Lord Balaram. And then the Lord also ordered his internal potency, Yogamaya, to take birth from the womb of Yashoda. So Yashoda became pregnant with a baby girl, and Rohini became pregnant with a baby boy, who was Balaram. So this Yogamaya was actually expanded, partial expansion as Durga Devi, as we're going to see. So then Krishna, now is the time for Krishna to appear. So he entered into Vasudeva's mind, and from there he entered into the mind and then the womb of Devaki. And as soon as Krishna was present in the womb of Devaki, then Devaki became very, very beautiful, and all the auspicious things started happening around the prison and the palace and the city of Mathura, and everything started becoming nice. Like the Brahmins who had been persecuted all of a sudden started to feel like, hey, the atmosphere is changing. I'm feeling actually like I can do my yagyas, I can recite my mantras, and everything's going to be all right. So everything was taking on a favorable atmosphere. But still Devaki was locked in prison. So it said that she was like the flames of a fire covered by a pot, or like knowledge that can't be distributed to the world. So Srila Prabhupada comments on this, that for such a long time Krishna consciousness was just locked away in India. The rest of the world had no clue about Krishna or any of these things, but it needed to be distributed. So then that's what Srila Prabhupada did, is that he took Krishna and brought Krishna out of the prison of India, out of the limited scope of India, and brought Krishna to the world. So in the same way, Vasudeva took Krishna from the prison cell of Kamsa and brought him to Vrindavan. like that. And Prabhupada also goes on to say that just as Krishna, who had taken shelter in the womb of Devaki, could not be killed by Kamsa, in the same way Krishna, who has now taken shelter in the womb of this Krishna consciousness movement, this movement cannot be stopped by any antagonistic people. So that was a nice reassurance. Prabhupada had so much confidence that even in the early stages of Krishna consciousness, and during Prabhupada's time, ISKCON was in its very early days, but he's like, this movement cannot be stopped. Krishna could not be killed by Kamsa, and this movement, which is non-different from Krishna, this is Krishna's manifestation, his appearance in this world, cannot be stopped by any demons, any antagonistic people, any government laws. Nothing can stop it. So, Devaki is there. She has the Lord in her womb, and the demigods know this. So they're all coming to offer their prayers, and they offer very beautiful, very instructive prayers. And one of those prayers talks about how this material world is like a great ocean of ignorance, which is impossible to swim across. And they say that, but Krishna's lotus feet are like a boat, and pure devotees keep coming to this material world to teach us the process for getting on that boat. And if we follow their instructions, then we can board that boat and we can cross over the ocean of material existence as easily as one can step over the hoof print of a calf. So that's a very nice verse. You can see that Krishna and his Vrindavan is going on there, and he's going in the boat. So now Krishna is about to appear. So now everything became auspicious, and this is the white lotus of good fortune, right? This is a special kind of lotus, the Shreya Kairiva Chandrikam, that it blooms only when there's a full moon, and it's considered to be the lotus which is the heralder of the ultimate good fortune. It's a signal that now everything is going to be auspicious. So, so there were lotus flowers in the rivers, and birds were chirping with sweet voices all over. The wind was carrying the aroma of different flowers. The Brahmins' minds became joyful, and they were able to recite their mantras, and those vibrations were going up into the sky, proclaiming the glory and the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything became auspicious. Now we're going to go back to those verses that we started with, Srimad Bhagavatam 1, 3, 7 to 8. And there's a little video here that's based on those verses. So it's very beautiful. Hare Krishna. And then when everything was very auspicious, Krishna appeared. Haribo. So, as soon as Krishna appeared, then, of course, he appeared there in the prison cell. So Devaki and Vasudeva were immediately concerned how to protect him, because they had actually performed austerities for lifetimes, right? This was their third lifetime performing austerities to try to get the Lord as their son. And now they have this beautiful Krishna, who they just saw is also Lord Vishnu. He's not just a little baby, but he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But still, they had this mixed feeling of, he's God and we're his servants, but also we need to protect him because he's a baby. And so they were thinking how to protect him. And then Vasudeva was instructed to take him across the Yamuna over to Gokul and to leave him in the house of, in the maternity room of Mother Yashoda, who had just given birth. So they offer their prayers to the Lord, but they don't delay because they know it's dangerous. Kamsa is there and he's going to wake up any minute. And so mystically, the shackles on Vasudeva's legs fall off. The gate of the prison opens. The guards fall asleep. Everything becomes perfect. And Vasudeva makes his exit. And it's a stormy night. It's thundering, lightning, heavy rain. It's midnight, so it's pitch black. Devaki's crying because she's wondering, will I ever see my baby, my beautiful baby again? And so Vasudeva is walking, and he comes to the Yamuna. Yamuna is raging with tall waves, and miraculously the Yamuna parts. Anantashesh forms an umbrella over the head of Vasudeva, sheltering him and baby Krishna, so they're not getting wet. And he manages to carry him across. Then he comes to Gokul, and he sneaks into the maternity room, and Mother Yashoda is sleeping. She's in a deep sleep, and she just gave birth to a baby girl who was that Yogamaya or Durga Devi. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that she also gave birth to a boy, that Mother Yashoda actually had twins. So the girl was Durga Devi, and the boy was Krishna. So what happened is that when Vasudeva he picked up the girl, and he left Krishna, who was born from the womb of Devaki, and as soon as he put that Krishna down, then that Krishna merged with Yashoda Nandana Krishna, the Krishna that had taken birth from Mother Yashoda. So the Krishna born of Devaki is known as Vasudeva Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, and the Krishna born of Nanda and Yashoda is Nanda Nandana Yashoda Nandana Krishna. And so Krishna in Vrindavan is the complete form of Krishna in which they're combined, right? Nanda Nandana Krishna is the complete form of Krishna, and he expands to Vasudeva Krishna. But Krishna outside of Vrindavan is Vasudeva Krishna, and he doesn't have all the qualities of Nanda Nandana Krishna. So Krishna is most complete in Vrindavan, and Nanda Nandana Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So, little side point of information there that we get from our acharyas. So, so Vasudeva did the switch up. He left Krishna. He took the girl child back, and as soon as he went back into the prison cell, everything locked. The shackles went back on him. They locked too. The guards woke up. The baby cried. Kamsa came running. Give me that baby. This is the one I've been waiting for. This is the 8th child, and I'm going to kill this child before it kills me. Of course, Devaki's pleading with Kamsa, but my dear brother, it's a girl. How is this tiny little newborn baby girl going to hurt you? You're being ridiculous. Look at you. And anyways, Kamsa didn't care who it was, a girl, boy, whatever. And so he took it, and just like all the other ones, he took her by her little pink baby feet, and he was about to smash her head on the stone. And then she shot out of his hands, and she flew up into the near the ceiling of the room, and she manifested her form as Durga Devi with her 8 arms, or 10 arms, whatever it is, holding all of her different weapons. And she says, Kamsa, again, you're a fool. This child who will kill you is already born somewhere else. So, of course, we know somewhere else was Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, Krishna was having all of his pastimes. He was very relaxed. Kamsa was in total anxiety, but Krishna was completely relaxed there in the lap of his mother. He wasn't worrying about anything. He had no fear of Kamsa, even though he totally knew the situation. And in Vrindavan, so many celebrations were going on. The birth ceremony of Krishna, the Abhishek, and then Krishna's playing with his friends and holding the tail of the cows, all of his wonderful childhood pastimes, being doted on by his loving mother and all of the elderly cowherd women of Vrindavan. Some beautiful scenes from Krishna's childhood. Playing with his friends and the Yamuna, dancing with the gopis, Srimati Radharani. Yeah. So this is Krishna's transcendental appearance in Vrindavan, and simultaneously in Mathura, and how those two Krishnas come together, and we get Nandana Krishna performing his beautiful pastimes in Vrindavan. And then later, when Krishna goes to Mathura to kill the demons, then that Krishna, Nandana Krishna, he becomes unmanifest. He goes into his unmanifested form, to what we call aprakat lila, and then the attention shifts over to Vasudeva Krishna killing demons in Mathura and ultimately killing Kamsa, as the voice predicted. So we can offer our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada for bringing Krishna to the Western world, for bringing Krishna into all of our lives, into all of our hearts, and for giving us the chance to connect very deeply with him and make this life perfect by going back home, back to that spiritual home in the spiritual world that we made the mistake of leaving, but we're doing the right thing and making our way back there. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Krishna Janmastami ki jai.